Hey, it's Mark Andrews, and it's the last one of these Rule 8 through 10, questions 1 through 20 for the 2022 CFOA rules test. It's now August 27th. I think I started these in April or May. It's been a long road. All right, let's get going. Question number 2. K, 4th and 7 at the R25. K33 attempts a field goal, which goes wide left. During the play, the line judge calls a penalty for an illegal formation. So we've got a missed field goal, which is a touchback, right? Unless it lands in front of the goal line. But in this case, it did not. It went wide of the goalpost. So we've got a touchback. We have a 5-yard foul. And normally, we would enforce the foul from the previous spot, but the 10-4-2 exception says the basic spot. Where's my cursor? There it is. The basic spot may, at the option of the offended team, be the succeeding spot for fouls by K during a free or scrimmage kick down, other than kick catching interference prior to the end of the kick, which is all that's everything so far is right. When K will not be the next to put the ball in play. K is not going to be the next one to put the ball in play. R is. So that means that we can enforce the penalty from the 20, and it would be K 1st and 10. I'm sorry, R 1st and 10 at the R25.
Question number 3. A, 3rd and 3 at the B36. A23 takes the handoff from A18 and runs to the B30, where he is tackled hard by B56. A23 gets up and pushes B56 to the ground. This is unsportsmanlike conduct. So the two rule references are to no player shall, which are personal fouls, right? And it says 943G says make any other contact with an opponent, including a defenseless player, which is deemed unnecessary or excessive or incites roughness. So that's what this type of action falls under. Unsportsmanlike conduct rule, there's a whole bunch of things you can't do, but they all involve non-contact. The only thing that involves contact is if a player throws the ball at another player, we can call unsportsmanlike conduct. So just keep this in your head, because people screw this up all the time. If there's physical contact, it is a personal foul. If it is anything else, profanity, showing off, refusing to comply, kicking at the ball, any disconcerting acts, profanity, you name it, all the unsportsmanlike conduct things that we deal with all the time, none of those involve contact. So that's unsportsmanlike conduct. So the answer to this is false. And just remember this guy. Contact, personal foul. No contact, unsportsmanlike conduct. All right? Moving on. Okay, question number 4. K 4th and 8 at the K7. K19 punts the ball from his end zone. It is partially blocked by R20. Let's assume that it's blocked, in the end zone partially. The ball goes to the K9, where it is muffed by R55 and rolls back into the end zone, where it is recovered by K70. And the rule reference is 626. Now, this is a trick question, guys, and I don't want you to misunderstand this. So 626 says the touching of a low scrimmage kick by any player is ignored if the touching is in or behind the expanded neutral zone. Okay, so we know that that first block, partial block, we're going to ignore that as not going to consider it a touch, because in other words, if K recovered it, they're not going to get the ball because it was partially blocked. Now the second one, that one should give K the ball if K recovers it, except that this guy is standing at the K9, which is still in the expanded neutral zone. So this is a safety only because both of those touchings are ignored, and therefore it is K's kick that put the ball into the end zone. So it is a safety, but if this guy had touched the ball or muffed the ball at the K10 all the way back, and then it got into the end zone and K recovered, it would be a touchback. I hope you all understand the difference. I don't like this question a lot, so I'm hoping I explained it correctly. So the answer is B, safety, but most of the time it would be a touchback. Anyway, let's move on. All right, question number 5. A first and 10 on the A15. A10 passes to A86, who runs to the A34. While the pass was in flight, B55 grabbed and twisted A72's face mask. The best result is... So basically what he's asking is, should he take the penalty or take the result of the play, right? And so the first thing we got to ask ourselves is, what kind of play is this? And this is a loose ball play. And so the enforcement spot on a loose ball play is, say it with me, previous spot. So this foul occurred during the loose ball part of this play, which is while it says while the pass was in flight. So we would have to enforce the 15-yard foul from the 15, put it on the 30. The ball ends up on the 34, so we're going to decline the penalty and take it on the 34. Now, just as an aside, had the face mask occurred after the catch, then we would enforce from the end of the run. Totally different thing, right? You got to make sure you know when these fouls occur. So the answer is C, A first and 10 at the A34. Question number 6. A second and 13 at the B49. A18 throws a forward pass to A88, who catches the ball and runs to the B30 where he is tackled. Prior to the pass, B28 grabs and releases A88. Excuse me. So, it's very similar to the previous question, but it's not. Here we have a situation where the foul occurs while the ball is still in the passer's possession. At that point, it's a running play, but he does eventually throw it. And the rule references here a little. I actually added this 10-6 because that's really the most important. That's the salient point. This is 10-6 right here. This is that weird looking rule right at the end, which is very, very important. So it says a loose ball play is action during a free kick or scrimmage kick, a legal forward pass, a backward pass, legal kick, fumble. Okay, we know all that, right? But here's the new wrinkle. A loose ball play includes the run which precedes such legal or illegal kick, legal forward pass, backward pass, or fumble. So that run preceding the pass is considered part of the loose ball play. Now, if it's after the pass is completed, now we have a running play. So you really have to keep this straight, okay? So any run preceding the loose ball play is part of the loose ball play. Any run after the loose ball play has, let's just say the possession occurs, and now we have a run. That run is treated separately as far as penalty enforcement goes. So the answer is B, A first and 10 at the B30. He refers to 10.42C, which really isn't the greatest rule reference, I don't think. There's actually one that's better. Where is it? 10.42C. Okay, so this is a He refers to 10.4.2b, as I said, and I don't think that one really applies. But 10.4.2a is a better example of what we've got here. This doesn't involve a pass, but involves a fumble. It's still a loose ball. And it describes that this is a foul during a loose ball play. The penalty, if accepted, will be administered from the basic spot, which is the previous spot. A loose ball play includes the run or runs which precede the loose ball. So, loose ball is a loose ball. So anyway, the answer is B. All right, question number 7. This one's a tricky one, so listen up. K 4th and 12 on the A12. K12 punts the ball from his end zone. K56 holds R24 in his end zone to prevent him from blocking the kick. R21 catches the ball at the K44 and returns it to the K40. If R accepts the penalty, the result is. Now, the immediate thing that comes to mind is it's a safety, right? We know from many questions and experience that any foul that's accepted where the enforcement spot is the end zone is a safety. And that's in 852C. And it says it's a safety win way up above there. A player on offense commits any foul for which the penalty is accepted and enforcement is from a spot in his end zone. So that is a safety. But we have this 842 exception. And it says the basic spot is the previous spot. And basically during a foul which occurs during a loose ball play, which is what we have here. Exception, the basic spot may, at the option of the offended team, be the succeeding spot for fouls by K during a free or scrimmage kick down, other than kick catching interference, prior to the end of the kick when K will not be the next to put the ball in play. So this 842 exception actually applies here. And we have a choice. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, why in the heck would R not take the safety? Well, there could be a lot of reasons. It could be near the end of the game. They're down by more than 2. So they want to get the ball on the 30 and try to get a score. If R accepts the penalty and uses the exception, it will be R's ball 1st and 10 at the K30. If they accept the penalty and don't take the exception, it is a safety. 2 points for R and K from the K20. Now you notice B there where it says safety K and then K10, like you're going to enforce the penalty on the free kick. No, the safety is the penalty. We're not going to add on. So the answer is D, either A or C. Okay, question number 8. Sort of similar to the previous question, but not so much. Anyway, A 3rd and 4th to B8. So they're going in, right? A18 passes the ball towards A81, and B26 intercepts the pass. After he intercepts the pass, B20 blocks A81 in the back in the end zone. B26 runs to the B10 where he is tackled. Okay, so we have that same rule reference, A52C, that I talked about in the previous question, and it says a player on offense. Well, B has now become A. Once that ball is intercepted, they are technically the offensive team, right? So the offense has committed a foul in the end zone. And 10.5.4 kind of repeats it. It says if the offensive team throws an illegal forward pass from its end zone or commits any foul for which the penalty is accepted and the measurement is from on or behind its goal line, it's a safety. So we have a safety on, and it will be safety's on B. I don't know why he didn't just say 2 points for A, but safety on B. So 2 points for A, and kickoff from the B20. Okay, question number 9, another tricky one. Third and 6 at the A42. A12 hands off to A28, who runs to the A44, where he is hit and fumbles. While the ball is in flight, that's the key, at the A45, A84 bats the ball and it goes out of bounds at the A49. The batting is legal and results in A first and 10 at the A49. And the rule reference is 972. It says, no player shall bat a loose ball other than a pass or fumble in flight, or a low scrimmage kick in flight, which he's attempting to block in or behind the expanded neutral zone. I'm not going to get into the exception because it's not applicable here, but basically, even though he batted the ball forward and it seems illegal, it's not. The ball is in the air, which makes it legal. This is true. Question number 10. This is a good one. K 4th and 5 at the R45. K punts the ball. The kick hits the ground and is rolling at the R2 when kicker 28 bats the ball to keep it from out of the end zone. In other words, he's batting it backwards towards his own end zone. R22 picks up the ball and tries to advance, but is tackled in his end zone. Okay. So, several things here. First of all, is that batting by what's his number? K28. Is that legal? And you remember the previous question, I said, hey, we're not going to talk about the exception. Well, now we're going to talk about the exception. So it says, no player shall bat a loose ball other than a pass or fumble in flight. This is a grounded ball, right? The exception, a K player may bat towards his own goal line a grounded scrimmage kick, which is beyond the neutral zone, and may also bat towards his own goal line a scrimmage kick in flight beyond the neutral zone if no R player is in position to catch the ball. Obviously, if there's an R player in position to catch the ball, that would be kick catching interference. But we're not talking about that. The ball's grounded. We can't have KCI on a grounded scrimmage kick. So this bat is legal. Now the question is this a safety? And the 625 reference is this one. When any K player touches a scrimmage kick beyond the expanded neutral zone to R's goal line before it's touched beyond the neutral zone by R, and before the ball has come to rest, it is referred to as first touching of the kick. And the place is the spot of first touching. This is really important, you guys. This can happen on a free kick or a scrimmage kick. A free kick, first touching occurs in that 10-yard neutral zone. And on a scrimmage kick, it can happen anywhere between the line of scrimmage and the goal line. So, it goes on to say such touching is ignored if it's caused by R's pushing or blocking K into contact with the ball, obviously. If any K player touches a scrimmage kick in this manner, R may take the ball at the spot of first touching or any spot where there is more than one spot of first touching, or they may choose to have the ball put in play as determined by the action following the first touching. I'm not going to read the rest. Basically, it says if R fouls, they don't get to take the first touching. But R don't have a foul here, so we're not going to talk about that. So basically, because R is tackled in his end zone, they're not going to take the result of the play. They are going to take the ball at the spot of first touching, which was 2. So the answer is A. R first and 10 at the R2, spot of first touching. Don't screw this one up. Okay, question number 11. A, 3rd and 7 at the B15. B leads by 7 points with 5 seconds remaining in the 4th period. A11 throws a screen pass to A21, who runs for a touchdown. The crowd goes wild. B65 is called for roughing the passer. Time for the fourth period runs out during the down. So the question is, really, can the rule says 822A says if an opponent of the scoring team commits a foul other than a sportsmanlike or non-player during a down in which the touchdown is scored and there was no change of possession during the pit down, A may accept the results of the play and choose enforcement of the penalty on the try or on the subsequent kickoff. We know this. However, this is the end of the game, and there is no subsequent kickoff, right? We're going to have overtime, maybe, and so the only choice that A has is to enforce it on the try. So the answer is A, try, B at the 1.5. Now, of course, they don't have to take the penalty. Sometimes teams don't want that 1.5 yards because it throws off their kicker, but maybe they're going to go for 2. But they are definitely not going to enforce the penalty in overtime. That's so. The answer here is A. Okay, question number 12. K 4th and 8, the R18. K 17 muffs the snap. K 19 kicks the ball while it's loose, and it goes between the goal uprights. The guy must be a soccer player. If R declines the penalty, it is a touchback. R first and 10 at the R20. And the rule references 971, which is simply the prohibition against kicking the ball other than as a free or scrimmage kick. So this is an illegal kick. R is going to decline it. And if you look at 971A, which is the case study that they point to, it's the exact question. And the ruling is an illegal kick by A1. If the penalty is declined, the result of the play is a touchback, as the illegal kick cannot score a field goal. So the answer here is true. Question number 13. A, 2nd and 7 at the B30. A26 receives a handoff from A12 and runs around the right side and out of bounds at the B24, where B19 hits him. Upset at the hit, A26 shoves B19 and knocks him down. B80, trying to protect his teammate, pushes A26 to the ground. What do we got? Well, basically, we've got 3 dead ball fouls here, right? And the first 2 rule references are just the prohibition against different types of foul. 943 is your big hitter, right? So B says no player or non-player shall charge in or throw an opponent to the ground after he's obviously out of the play or after the ball is clearly dead, either in or out of bounds. I guess we could apply that to either 1, 2 of the 3 of those. So anyway, and then 943G just says make any contact with an opponent, including a defenseless player, which is deemed unnecessary or excessive. So this is unnecessary roughness. It doesn't matter what you call it. It's a personal foul, dead ball. We have 2 on B and 1 on A. And 1025, 1025 says enforcement of penalties for unsportsmanlike, non-player, or dead ball fouls. And these are all dead ball fouls. If both teams commit unsportsmanlike, non-player, or dead ball personal fouls prior to the completion of penalty administration for those fouls, the distance penalty for an equal number of 15-yard unsportsmanlike, non-player, or dead ball personal fouls will offset. Any remaining penalties will be enforced separately and in the order of occurrence. So we've got 1 dead ball foul on A and 2 on B, so we're going to offset one of the B fouls, and then we're going to enforce the other B foul. So the end of the play was the 24. So we're going to go half the distance to the goal line since we're inside the 30, and it will be A first and 10 at the B12. Question number 14. A, 2nd and 10 at the B36. A10 throws a legal forward pass to A87. the back judge throws a flag on B19 for defensive pass interference. A87 still catches the ball and runs across the goal line. And the rule reference is 822. Now, guys, this is one that gets screwed up a lot. And it happens because in college, and a lot of our guys are in college, the offensive team would have to decline the penalty for the foul in order to keep the touchdown. That's not true in high school. So keep that in mind. Don't let your white hat do that. So, is it a TD penalty declined? Is it a TD penalty on the try, a TD penalty on the kickoff, or any of the above? And so A22 says, if an opponent of a scoring team commits a foul other than unsportsmanlike conduct or non-player foul during a down in which a touchdown is scored and there was not a change of possession, A may accept the results of the play and enforcement on the try or the subsequent kickoff. So we've got B and C. Now, for conceivably, A could decline the penalty, right? They wouldn't, but they could. So the answer is D, although A really is not in the realm of possibility, unless it was, 75-0. Anyway, answer's D. Bye-bye. Question number 15. A 3rd and 6 at the B46. A11 throws a pass to A86 at the B20. It is complete, and A86 is tackled at the B18. Rushing linebacker B52 pulls on A66's face mask, trying to get to the passer while the pass is in flight. And the rule references are 943H, which is just simply the prohibition against grasping and twisting the face mask. 1031B, which describes a loose ball play. And 1042B, which says the basis spot is the previous spot for a foul which occurs during a loose ball play, which is what we have here. So, what are our options? We started on the B46. If we accepted the foul, or the penalty rather, we would have, we would be first down at the B31. We ended up at the B18. So they're gonna decline the penalty and just end up at the B18. And the correct answer is A, 1st and 10 at the B18. Question 16. K 4th and 6 at the K20. K10 punts the ball. R26 catches the kick at the 50 and returns it to the K15 and fumbles the ball out of bounds to the K12. During the kick, K42 is flagged for holding at the K10. The result is, and so, basically we've got a foul by K and a run by R that results with the ball out of bounds at the 12. And the 1042 exception says the basic spot may, at the option of the offended team, be the succeeding spot for fouls by K during a free or scrimmage kick down other than kick catching interference prior to the end of the kick, when K will not be the next to put the ball in play. So we've satisfied all those criteria. K is not going to be the next one to put the ball in play. It happened during a scrimmage kick, and it's prior to the end of the kick. So basically, then the other rule reference, 1041-9B, says when the runner loses player possession, if his run is followed by a loose ball, but the related run continues until the ball becomes dead or any player gains possession, or the spot of the catch or recovery when the momentum rule is in effect. Okay, so the spot where the run ends is where the ball went out of bounds. That's a really complicated way of saying that. So we've got the ball out of bounds at the K12. We're going to go half the distance to the goal line. It'll be ours ball, first and goal at the K6. Okay, question 17. A, second and 10 at the B48. A26 receives the handoff from A18 and runs around the left end to the B41, where B12 tackles him with a horse collar tackle and pulls him down backward to the ground, out of bounds, at the B39. So the 943K reference is just a prohibition against horse collar tackle, but it's worth reading in this because this is a really misunderstood rule. So this starts out with no player or non-player shall grab the inside, back, or side collar of the nameplate area directly below the back collar of either the shoulder pads or jersey of the runner and subsequently pull backward or sideward that opponent to the ground, even if possession is lost. The horse collar foul is enforced as a live ball foul. Now, where people get messed up here is if we have a player being held, in the horse collar fashion, but not brought to the ground, it's not a horse collar foul. He has to be brought to the ground by the horse collar foul. I'll give you an example. Defender's got a hold of this runner, but the runner's got a good head of steam or he's strong and he can't pull him backwards. So he's just holding him up and slowing him down. And another defender comes over and knocks him down. That is not a horse collar foul. The other one that gets messed up is if he's pulled forward by the horse collar tackle. It's not a foul. And the other one that's missed is the sideward one. People think it only applies to a backward pull. Backward or sideward. So remember those, okay? So here we have a ball, the player being brought to the ground out of bounds at the B39. The penalty is a 15-yard penalty. So we're going to tack on 15 yards. It'll be A's ball, first and 10 at the B24. The answer is C. All right, question number 18. A, second and 10 on the B40. A16's forward pass is intercepted by B24 at the B30. As B24 is running down the sideline, the official runs into A's assistant coach in the restricted area at the B40 and is tackled at the B45. He means the runner is tackled at the B45. This is the second offense for Team A. So the rule reference is 948, and it just says unintentional contact between a non-player and an official in the restricted area while the ball is live. Well, that describes exactly what we have. If we look at the penalty summary, this is illegal personal contact. I'll emphasize this. This is not an unsportsmanlike conduct foul. It is illegal personal contact foul. It is 15 yards. And as you can see, it says for the first offense, 15 yards from the succeeding spot. For the second offense, 15 yards from the succeeding spot, and disqualification of the head coach. All right, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to enforce from the end of the run, right, which is the B45. We are going to go 15 yards. And we are going to disqualify the coach. So the answer is D. Question number 19. A, third and 6 at the B48. A12 passes to A88 at the B25, and A88 runs for a touchdown. Yeah. During the play, A's head coach is on the field at the B25 yard line. Okay, so we have during the play, the head coach walks on the field. That is an unsportsmanlike conduct foul on that head coach. But all unsportsmanlike fouls are treated, are live ball fouls, or can be live ball fouls, but they're always treated as dead ball fouls. So the TD stands, and we are going to, as our rule reference our rule reference 824 says, if either team commits an unsportsmanlike conduct or non-player foul during a down in which a touchdown is scored, the opponent may accept the results of the play and choose enforcement of the penalty on the try or subsequent kickoff, which is exactly what letter A says. So the answer to question number 19 is A. I got one more. Okay, last question. Everybody, this is actually the last question of the last test. What is this? 230 questions later. Good God. Anyway, question 20. A, 2nd and 10 at the A22. A14 drops back to pass. A81 rushes the passer and grabs and twists A14's face mask as he tackles him at the A12. A14 fumbles the ball and it rolls out of bounds at the A10. Now, this is one of those things where he's trying to trick you a little bit, not a lot. Typically, if a quarterback or a passer was brought down to the ground by his face mask and he doesn't throw the ball, then the spot where we're going to enforce the foul is going to be the end of the run, which is where he goes to the ground. But in this case, as he's going to the ground, he loses control of the ball and it's fumbled. That makes it a loose ball play. Okay, that's different. So we started at the A22 and the ball went out of bounds at the A10, but this is going to be previous spot enforcement. Okay, so 1031C tells us a loose ball play is action during a backward pass, including the snap, illegal kick. And don't forget that, guys. The snap is actually a backward pass. Or fumble made by A in or behind the neutral zone prior to changes of team possession. So, this is a loose ball play. Enforcement is previous spot. So we're going to go to the 22, mark off 15 yards. It'll be A's ball, 1st and 10 at the A37. The answer is A. I am out of here. Thanks, guys. Hope you learned something.
Well, that's going to do it for Rule 8 through 10, the CFOA 2022 tests. Hey, I just realized something. I am using the term guys all the time. And listen, it's meant in the most generic way. I mean, I so appreciate the females that are coming out and officiating football. I don't mean to insult you in any way. And, I hope that we get more female officials. They bring a different perspective, just a different sensibility to the game, and we need it. We need diversity. All right, I'll get off my soapbox now. Now here comes my spiel. If you like these videos, and I've got a ton of them, they're not all rule videos. I have, plays of the week, all kinds. Anyway, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And you can do so by clicking on my picture on the top right corner. It'll take you to my YouTube page. Hit the subscribe button and make sure you click on the bell below that turns on all notifications. That way you will be notified when I release new videos. If you want to review any of the other rules videos, so I covered all of them, click on the link on the left. This is Mark Andrews signing off.